Well, that was a piece for Disclavier. It's a computerized player piano. The player piano kind of graduated to a. I mean, I don't know. Young people don't even know what player pianos are anymore. They were extremely popular in the 19 teens and 20s, and they sold during that period. Piano companies sold more player pianos than regular pianos, and they would play off a piano roll, so they could. It was a way to have acoustic music in your house without being able to play the piano yourself. And so now Yamaha makes a Disclavier that's run by a computer, and the usual, I think the most intended way to the thing they made it for was so that people who need to perform with a pianist can record the pianist and practice with the piano without the pianist being there.
I see.
But I started using it because I can write any kind of rhythms I want,
Mm-hmm.
and it will wherever I put a dot, it'll play it. So I can write impossibly fast stuff and very, very complex rhythmic structures. And
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. You have an AI with you.
oh yeah,
AI. Yeah, AIs are calling over us even by playing the piano. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your upbringing. I always ask my guests, like, how do they grow up, and are your parents musicians?
yes. Actually, my mother was a piano teacher. My father was an accountant, but he sang in choruses, and he actually once sang in the chorus for Boris Godunov of the Dallas Opera. And I was raised on classical music from very, very young. My earliest memories are hearing recordings of the Mozart D minor concerto, the K576 sonata, Schubert's Fifth Symphony, things like that.
Hmm.
Um, and I was in, oddly enough, Dallas,
Hmm.
Texas,
Hee haw.
where not many people I grew up with shared my interests. And so, but I went to an arts magnet school, Skyline was the name of it, and went to Oberlin Conservatory, and then got my master's and doctorate at Northwestern in Chicago.
Hmm. Yeah, you got great training, great schools. You know, Oberlin these days, like Oberlin is, yeah, is considered really good conservatory. So now, what is your primary instrument? Do you play piano or other stuff?
Oh, I used to play piano very, very well. In fact, on my website, I put up a recording of me playing the Chopin A flat major polonaise when I was 16, and I could play really well back then. But in the early 1980s, I quit practicing, and
Yeah.
I started typing instead. In 1983, I started working as a music critic in Chicago,
Mm.
and just never went back to the piano. I really regret not having kept it up.
Yeah. Is that Polonaise is like a is
It's da
that?
da da dum bum ba dum
Oh, okay.
dun da dum da 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 dum da 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 dum bum 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 bum.
Yeah.
It's
Dum,
really
dum.
hard.
Yeah. Oh, Chopin stuff is hard. Yeah. So, yeah. So what is it like from a pianist, play the piano and learning music, and from also you're such a penman uh, person. You write books, and you're being a journalist, and you're being a music critic. Um, of course, it's kind of related to writing, right? You are creating and writing. So tell us a little about from writing words, the differences between writing notes.
Well, I always wrote very quickly and easily, but the great thing was when I got to the Village Voice, they trained me really, really well. I had come out of grad school writing in kind of the pretentious academic style that most people learn in grad school, and when I got to the Village Voice, they liked what I was saying, but they were not going to let me get away with that stuff. And so for 7 years, the first 7 years, my editor and I spent an hour and a half a week going over my column. And he trained me very, very well. I'm like the writing equivalent of a prize fighter who went through all the training and everything. It's not like there's certain things rub off from music, but you can't really train a composer the way you train a writer.
Mm.
And the important thing about becoming a writer, he made me realize, is that I always had to keep in mind the reader's psychology. Like I had to say, okay, if I say this, what questions does it raise in the listener's mind and the reader's mind? How do I address that before they lose interest? How do I keep them reading through the whole article? Things like that.
Mm.
And it was
Yeah.
a very, very important training for me.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to segue, just say hello to a few friend of ours and yours, and thank you guys for watching. We have Fast Music said hello, who was there for a long time waiting for us. We have Guy Palitia. The least we
Lydia,
can,
I know that name.
the least we could do is wave to each other. Indeed. And then Fast Music says very pretty, I guess, referring to your music. Hi, and Jeffrey, looking and sounding good. Hi, Jeffrey, you are the best. Jeffrey put us together. Jeff is a matchmaker here for me and Kyle.
Hey,
So
he does it professionally.
yes, he's a professional matchmaker. Yeah, let's talk about what the heck is micro. What do you call that?
Microtonality?
You're specialized in microtonality. Tell us about that.
Well, okay, you're a violist, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, when a string quartet plays Mozart,
Uh-huh.
you do not do you play 12 equal steps to the octave?
Uh, Not really, because the string players, when we have sharps, we play a little bit sharper. When we play flat, so we're not like a pianist for all equal. But still, we only have this many notes. Yeah. So
Right, but
yeah.
when Mozart taught violin,
Mm-hmm.
he taught
Mm-hmm.
the system he taught was a mean tone system, and he said that he taught his students to play D sharp a little bit lower than E flat.
Oh, okay.
And the way he conceived of it is that there were 55 steps to the octave,
Wow.
and from C to C sharp is 4 steps, but C to D flat is 5 steps.
Uh-huh. Wow.
So all of this was very well understood in the 18th century,
Wow.
and 17th and 16th century. And then during the 19th century, everybody forgot about it because the piano became the dominant instrument,
Yeah.
and you had to tune to the piano. And so,
Piano is equal, right?
yeah,
Equal.
yep.
Yeah.
Although back then, even the piano wasn't equal in
Mm,
the 18th century. Of course, there weren't many pianos in the 18th century, but
right.
and so in the early 20th century, around 1917, composers started getting interested in having more pitches to the octave again.
Mm,
And in particular, the way I compose with microtones has a lot to do with the harmonic series, because if you take the seventh harmonic of C, it's a B flat, but it's a little lower than the B flat on the piano.
mm,
And so I really, really like making up melodies of these little tiny intervals
mm,
between notes.
mm. How do you sing a C major scale with a micro?
Oh well, if you want to tune it purely,
Mm.
you can do it. The E will be a little bit flatter than usual to
Oh,
be perfectly in tune,
okay.
and B will be a little bit flatter than usual. The A will be, yeah, the A is just a touch flat.
Oh,
So,
wow. So it's a little darker. It's almost like a
mhm.
jazz. Your music is a little jazzy to me.
Well, I do use
Come
I
on.
I do use jazz elements in it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So can you show us an example of your micro tonality music?
Sure. Let me. I got a short piece here called Space Cat,
Okay.
and I can put it on here, and I can show the score as it goes by. If I go to, let's see, right there.
Okay. So I'm gonna bring it to the screen. Cool.
Okay, and I'll play it.
Okay. Say it again. The piece name. So
Space Cat.
Space Cat. Oh,
You're
kitty cat.
you're a cat person, right?
Yes, I have two. I saw your cat 2 days
Yep.
ago. Yeah,
Hmm.
when we did a
All right.
test. All right.
I'll unplug my headphones so you can hear it.
Oh, okay. Great. It's very visual. I can see the space cat.
You know, I should have explained beforehand that
Okay.
was for three pianos all tuned differently.
Oh yeah, I was wondering how do you make it so micro, you know?
It's three pianos. Each one is tuned differently. There are 33 different pitches.
Oh my God. So wait, this one was not created by AI?
Well, it was played on. It's to be played on disc claviers.
Oh, okay. So anyway, so you can tune the piano the way you want to tune. That's just so neat. Yeah. Otherwise, like you have to have three different real piano, and then have like a tuner, right?
Yes, it's an extremely expensive
Yeah,
proposition.
yeah, that's expensive. Wow. So, excuse me. So you've studied wrote books on many different great musicians and artists. So tell us a little bit about Charles Ives. What have you met him?
No,
Why you
no,
fascinated by him?
I'm not old enough to have met him. He died the year before I was born.
Oh, okay.
But in high school, I played the easier two movements of the Concord Sonata.
Uh-huh.
The four movements are based on Emerson, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Nathaniel Hawthorne, Louisa May Alcott, and her father, and Henry David Thoreau. And I was fascinated with all those authors even before I discovered Charles Ives. I was reading Alcott and Hawthorne very, very early. And when I found out Charles Ives had based a sonata on them, this was when I was 13, I got very excited about it.
Mm.
And I never expected to write a book about Ives because there are so many musicologists writing about him. But about, when was it? About 7 or 8 years ago, I got invited to join the Charles Ives Society. And the Charles Ives Society is the body that publishes his music and deals with his legacy and everything. And it has a lot of money because Charles Ives was a very rich man.
Oh,
He worked as the CEO of an insurance agency.
right. He was
Was his
insurance
day
person.
job, and when he died, he left a lot of money behind. Unlike artists, most
Hmm.
composers, I should say.
Hmm.
And so, getting involved with them made it very easy for me to do all the research I needed to do.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I've looked through lots of the Ives manuscripts
Mm.
at Yale University,
Mm.
which is very exciting.
Yeah.
So he's always been kind of my favorite composer.
Yeah, he's strike to me when I think about Charles Ives is like he's first of all very American, right? He's
Hmm.
a lot of his music is very nationalist, showing the nationalistic of being a United States, being a
Hmm.
U.S. person, and he's done some really kind of a innovative writing, right? Innovative
Hmm.
thinking, like having like a two marching band play different keys and moving at the same time and towards each other.
Hmm.
Those bitonality stuff, and
Hmm.
probably to his contemporary, it's kind of weird, like, or to people in his generation, they probably couldn't really. Was he well accepted, or is it controversial person?
He he quit composing around 1925 because he was diabetic, and his health was very, very bad.
Oh,
And before that time, he got almost no support at all. But in the 1920s and 30s, his reputation started to rise. And in 1939, the Concord Sonata had its big premiere in New York, and was hailed in the newspapers as the greatest music written by an American. And I was around for the Ives Centennial in 1974, which was probably the high watermark of his reputation. There were lots of conferences and things going on around Ives's music back then.
Yeah. So what is so successful about Concord Sonata? Is it written for what? For piano?
Yep.
Okay.
But there's a flute solo at the end.
It's interesting.
It's an amazing piece in its ability to go back and forth between tonality and atonality.
Yeah.
And Ives was a precocious church organist when he was young.
Oh.
And his music can often be very contrapuntal, and he loves playing different themes at the same time. Mm. And you hear a lot of that in Emerson. If you go, Emerson is a thick, very complex movement, but it's amazing the way he will foreshadow melodies he's going to use or refer back to them. So he kind of always keeps the ear interested in the texture somewhere. Mm-hmm. It's really, really technically an amazing achievement, and it just has a feeling of being very, very heartfelt.
Yeah. So, do you have a way of playing us just like a really, really short excerpts of that? Can we find that on YouTube?
Oh, there are a million recordings of it.
Okay. Should we do that? Just a little bit, yeah.
Well, I can play you.
Uh-huh.
I don't.
You can play me on your piano.
Yeah, I wish. Let me find a good recording of that. Let's see, a little bit of Emerson.
Oh, okay. I hear a lot of counterpoint. Yeah. Okay. Oh,
Yeah, I played you
echo,
the most.
echo. Uh-huh. All right.
Whoops.
Yeah. Good.
That's the most complex part of the piece.
So much
I,
counterpoint going on. Yeah.
Ives loves to start with everything at once and then gradually get clearer and clearer,
Mm. Mm.
which is a
Yeah.
very unusual thing.
When was this particular piece written?
Between 1911 and 1919.
Oh my God. Oh my God. We're so behind. Right? You think this the music is like an atonal kind of and kind of a complex to music, and so so what was his influence? Ives' influence
Well,
from.
he was very well trained in European music.
Mm,
When he was 15, he played one of Mendelssohn's organ sonatas on a recital,
mm,
and he had analyzed Dvorak and Tchaikovsky and Brahms.
mm,
But he also his father was a musician, and his father knew Helmholtz's book on the sensations of tone, which was the big late 19th century book that reintroduced acoustics into
mm,
the world. And so Ives knew all this stuff about the harmonic series. He knew a lot more about acoustics and experimental aspects of music than other people did at the time. That same book was a big influence on Debussy.
mm.
And of course, Debussy became very famous for the whole tone scale. And Ives does a lot of whole tone stuff too, but he thought whole tone by itself was too limiting, that you had to go back and forth between tonality and whole tone and atonality and like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. So so you have studied with so many teachers or met so many wonderful musicians. I am very fascinated by one of them. I don't know a whole lot of person on your list of composers you know or
Mm-hmm.
you work with, but one person I'm so fascinated is John Cage.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit. You must have met him, have you?
I um, I knew him slightly for 18 years.
Wow.
When I was 18, he gave a lecture in Dallas, where I was from, and so I went back to hear him, and um, I had enough chutzpah that I hung around after the lecture and got invited back to a dinner honoring him, so
Mm.
I could spend the evening sitting near him.
Oh,
And you know, I never studied with him or anything, but I saw him many times
I see.
after that.
Yeah. So now tell us a little bit John Cage's chance music to people in case people are not familiar with who John Cage was.
Cage was an extremely influential figure, not just in music, but also on dance and visual art. He became, he was a real kind of outsider figure. He was writing mostly very quiet music in the 1940s when everybody else was writing big noisy music. And in 1961, he published a book of his writings called Silence, and that's what made him famous. And at the time, he was very interested in incorporating chants into his composition. He was trying to write a kind of impersonal kind of music, not based on his own tastes or habits or anything. He wanted to create some kind of system that would create an unpredictable music, because he wanted to be as surprised when he heard the music as the listener was.
And every time is different sometimes.
And he had also been very influenced by Asian philosophy, and he studied with Daisetsu Suzuki, studied Zen with Daisetsu Suzuki. He was friends with Ananda Kumaraswamy, who was a curator at fine art at Boston Museum, and wrote a lot about Asian aesthetics and how it was not about self-expression, it was about capturing some kind of spiritual essence, letting nature work through you. And so it's very different from the Western, you know, the European thing where I am a composer. I have all these deep feelings to express, uh, and you will be oppressed with them. So,
Mm.
um, by the time I had met him, he had been argumentative when he was young, I think. But by the time I knew him, he had he had become kind of a saint, and he had this really lovely, glowing personality.
Mm.
And the first time I saw him, I was totally blown away and just wanted to be near him.
Mm.
So
He's a handsome man.
yeah,
He's very handsome. He's
yeah,
tall. When he did this piece, he was putting water and pressure cooker, everything on the stage,
yeah,
making all this noise. Yeah, he did a live show on television, and
yeah,
I play that for my student.
yeah.
I teach music appreciation in a college for
Oh,
16 years. So that's how I discover him, and I bought his score for 4 minute 33 second.
I I I played that. I played 433 on my high school recital.
Oh, good for you. That's a lot of work. Yeah.
The same concert with the Chopin.
Oh. Yeah, that's like it's always very fascinating to my college students when they see the score is just blanked, and at the beginning they didn't really understand why.
Hmm.
And gradually they did figure it out. So it's very interesting. So anyway, you have anything else to play for us? You have a list of music. Let's hear your music and tell us more about your music, please.
Okay, sure. How about well, I've got a piece here. Bud ran back out for Disclavier.
Oh, by the way, while you're looking for your piece, I just wanted to acknowledge our audience with us. Uh, we have some comments here.
From
Guy, yeah,
my friend
yeah,
Stephen Weigel.
yeah. Can you see Guy Palatia? Is the score data similar to Hyperchromatica?
Yeah, that movement is part of a larger work called Hyperchromatica.
Uh-huh. And then Steven, Space Cat is an Hyperchromatica, and Guy and Steven was making comments, and Fast Music says, hey mate, your piano needs tuning. Your piano needs tuning. It was quite out of tune. Just kidding. Fabulous harmonies. Okay, great. Haha, program, but yeah. So, by the way, you guys, please, if you have not subscribed, guys, YouTube channel. His YouTube channel has a funny name. Uh, so you just subscribe his YouTube channel, and my YouTube channel is Juhl Media, and I work really hard try to provide original content and talk to people, talk to artists, talk to all kinds of interesting human beings. So thank you following us. All right. So what music you want to play for us?
Bud ran back out.
Okay.
I think this is it's 2001.
Okay.
So you can see it, right?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right.
Can you make it? Can you make it as a little bigger?
Yeah.
Screen. Yeah. Screen.
And let me.
I love this one. So tell us. Oh, headphone.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little bit. What is the Bud Ramback?
Well, that's a tribute to the great jazz pianist Bud Powell.
Oh, okay.
And one of Thelonious Monk's famous compositions is "In Walked Bud." So I was going to have Bud run back out.
I see.
And there is a quote from Bud Powell in there somewhere. Celia, I think.
Yeah, I hear a lot of runs. Almost, I feel the visual of this can be a great like animation film.
Yeah. Well,
Animation
there
film.
are there are about 7 copies of this on YouTube, and some people did animate it.
Oh yeah!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Wow, that's really energizing. It's a lot of fun. I hear a lot of jazz. Yeah, a lot of jazz. So how do you are there like a one sentence or one paragraph to describe your music, your style?
Well, I'm very. I would say I'm a pitch and rhythm guy. I think that we can hear a lot more subtleties of pitch and rhythm than we are used to using in music, and that we can expand our ability to hear musical structures by increasing the number of pitches and by having more complex rhythmic structures than we usually do. And both of them are very number related. And I have a very arithmetical mind. I was the math star of my high school. And for instance, I have heard, Indian music is classical Indian music is way ahead of European music in terms of rhythm. And I have heard Indian drummers perform these complicated beat patterns and try to throw each other off and have to come back on the downbeat anyway. They can do so much more in that way than we can. And I think we can train ourselves to do all that. And I think one way we can train ourselves to do that is to use the computer. Because I have sometimes taught myself to perform rhythms that I couldn't have done from the notation. But if you put it in the computer and listen to it over and over again, you learn how to do it. So I think the computer software is a very important tool for expanding our perception of pitch and rhythm.
So you went through the sort of evolution of writing music with a pen, and then writing music with software,
Mm-hmm.
and then notation for people to read. Now you're doing this piano. What do you call it? The piano thing?
Disclavier.
Yeah, disc. And you must be pretty cool guy that you adapt these tools, because I think some composers or some artists, they just like really not liking the new process, even from film to digital or non-digital or analog or not. So tell us a little bit how you adapt yourselves artistically to these tools.
Well, I wish I were better at doing electronic music. I never learned it very well because when I was in school, it kept changing every year. But when notation software and MIDI came out, I realized that I had been very interested in all these tempo structures before, all these rhythms, but had no real way to do it. And when the software came out, all of a sudden I could write any kind of rhythm I wanted. I could test out rhythms. When I was in grad school, I was trying to use computers to teach myself little pitch things, and it took forever because they were so hard to program. And then at some point in the late 1980s, it just became easy. And if I wanted to learn how to sing a particular interval, I could I just program them on the computer and do it.
Do you think Beethoven, if he lived today, he would have enjoyed these technology?
Beethoven was German. The Germans have a very different attitude about all of this.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah?
Now, if Beethoven had been born in America today, I think maybe he would have. But
Okay.
the Germans are still very into profundity and writing this very kind of dark, kind of existential music. In fact, I gave a concert, worst concert of my life, Hamburg, Germany,
Oh, yeah?
and I played some of these. I played some of these pieces on that concert, and one of them, I mean, and some of them were kind of funny. I write humorous pieces, and one of them was a piece made up entirely of Beethoven quotations,
Oh, yeah.
called Petty Larceny. And when that piece went off, I looked at the audience, and they looked so grim.
They're like, how dare you?
I thought they were gonna look for a rope. And then after intermission, I came back and everyone had left except for the students who had to put the equipment away.
Oh my God. Oh, wow. Wow. That was when? What time? What year?
That was 2007.
That's pretty current.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
2007.
I don't think the Germans appreciate me much.
Oh, wow. Wow. So, yeah. Now, I was wondering, you have so many CDs behind you. How many? You have thousands and thousands. Ooh, nice decoration.
I worked as a music critic for 25 years,
Oh, damn.
and I would get every week 15 or 20 free CDs would come in the mail.
You're sick and tired of it. So tell me a little bit about process of being a critic. Like, so what grabs you? Like, if you receive 10, you can only have time write 2, right? How does that whole thing works?
Well, I was a music for the Village Voice. When I worked in Chicago, I reviewed all kinds of music. I did early music, Beethoven, Boulez, everything. And then when I got the job at the Village Voice, it was a very specific repertoire. It was downtown music, the kind of music they did at the kitchen. It was Cage influenced music. It was, there was a lot of improvisation, a lot of minimalism, not very formal concerts, often lots of loft concerts, things like that. And so I was very focused on the aesthetics of that scene. And so pretty much I reviewed the music I liked best. I felt it was my responsibility to give more attention to people in that scene than outside that scene. But if I really liked something outside the scene, I would do that too.
So, but you don't open every, say, 10 things you arrive. You do not open all 10 of them. Like what's the process? Like, do you pick something looks good to you, or the cover looks good to you, or somebody you know, or the style you know?
Well, it's basically somebody I know or the style I know, but if the cover looks intriguing, if it looks like, if the cover aesthetically fits what I think I'm trying to do. I mean, I didn't review a whole lot of improvisation because most of it tended more toward jazz, and I'm not a jazz expert. So it was, my central musical interest is minimalism. That's what I got excited about as a student in the 70s.
Yeah. So now that you mentioned minimalism, we have, Philip Glass, we have Reich, and we have some more people do you have any comments um, about that?
Well, I
Let's talk about Philip Glass. No.
well, okay. My other criterion is I tended to stay away from the more famous people.
Oh, okay.
Because Phil Glass doesn't need my help. I love him. He's a
Yeah.
very smart guy.
Hmm.
He's the only composer I know who every time he sees me, he asks me what I'm working on.
Which is nice.
And so I always appreciate Phil. But I think a lot of the better minimalists are people that aren't as well known.
Mm.
Like my biggest influence when I was young was Harold Budd,
Mm.
who was a California minimalist, um, a little bit toward the pop music side, and his music is extremely mellow.
Mm.
It's just and I love it. And he uses lots of major seventh chords. And
Mm.
so finally, at one point, I said, "The hell with it! I'm just going to use all the major seventh chords I want."
Yeah. Yeah. So, can we hear some other list of your music? You have venues from the planets, private dance number 6.
Oh, let me pull up.
And I'm interested in also knowing what we can talk is about you collaborated with the Mark Morris dance.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Let me look at the planets. I didn't have this score out, but it will just take a second.
Yeah.
And
So while you're looking for, I just make more announcement. Today is Wednesday. I do a conversation with someone special on Mondays and Wednesday. Next Monday, I'm going to talk with Paget Kega, Kaggy, a very vibrant young political commentator, lives actress, writer, lives in California. And next Wednesday, I will be talking with Carl Rotland, viola professor from Juilliard School. And I'm all booked till end of August. And you can check my Facebook, Ching Juhl, for lots of announcements. All right. Okay. You ready?
yeah,
Okay, great. So
let
this
me,
one is called Venus.
Venus. Yeah, the planet.
Venus. Okay.
And let me take my headphone out.
So, I even heard of
Thank you.
viola.
Yes, big viola solo there.
Yeah. So, this is a scored for clarinet, violin, viola, piano. What else?
It's the Relash ensemble. It was flute, oboe, alto sax, bassoon, viola, bass, keyboard, and percussion.
Wow, very exotic combination.
Yeah, it's one movement of a 75-minute piece.
Wow,
So
wow, wow, amazing. So, when was this written?
That I wrote that between 1994 and 2008.
Mm, mm. So
They
yeah.
I, they kept wanting me to finish all 10 movements, but they kept losing funding and they couldn't.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. So do you have like recordings of real instrumentalist play?
yeah, but
These are electronic, right?
no, that's the ensemble.
This is the ensemble. Oh,
Yeah,
sounding a little electronic. I think because of all these,
yeah,
electronic
because of the Zoom. Yeah.
transmission. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Very nice. So, now tell me a little bit about you're a professor at Bard College, and how do you teach someone compose?
Well, you can't. But the way I work with students is very slow, and some of them some of them want to work faster and they don't get into it. I don't say much about a student's work until I've seen them write two or three pieces, and then I'll say, "Oh, you always do that, don't you?" And they'll do what? I said, "Yeah, that thing there. You've done that in every piece." And they say, "Oh, I didn't realize it." And so I'm always trying to bring out, find out what it is, what it is they want in the piece, and how to get them to do that. Now, sometimes if they're very slow, if they have a hard time getting inspiration, I give them assignments or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a little like therapy.
Yeah. You inspire them, I guess. I just thought not everybody can be a writer, right? Not everybody can be a composer. Not everybody can play the piano really well. So what what does it what does it take to be a good composer?
Well, you have to be willing to go way out on a limb and write music that other composers don't like.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Because there's a lot of pressure to conform
Mm-hmm.
in the composing business.
Mm-hmm.
Every teacher has their list of things you're not supposed to do,
Mm.
and you have just to not listen to them.
Mm. Yeah.
And also to be a functioning composer, you have to have a lot of musician friends,
Right.
and I don't. So
I see. So now just for other kind of a more personal level, like do you write music in the morning or in the afternoon, or you write the best in the evening?
uh, the in recent years, I write best between 11 and 3, and I can probably go till 4, and then at some point it turns off.
Mm.
Like
Mm.
4 o'clock, I realize I'm just putting notes down and I don't know what I'm doing. So
4
when
o'clock, you're talking to me.
when when I was a kid, I composed till 3 in the morning.
Mm.
That's when I
Wow.
did it. But
Yeah. Teenagers or younger kids, they can't sleep, you know.
yep, yep.
Yeah. So great. Did we cover enough things? Shall we do a rapid fire?
We got some questions.
Ah, let's see.
Yeah, I don't write microtone. Somebody
Can you can you
guy asks if Venus's part is
Mhm.
microtonal.
Yeah.
I don't write microtonal music for acoustic musicians. It just
Oh yeah, yeah. It's difficult. Yeah.
you can't get a good performance.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I tried at first. We had a workshop
Uh-huh.
in which I tried to see if I could maybe get Relash to play microtonally, and it sounded as we said. Everyone agreed we sounded like a junior high school band.
Oh yeah.
So
I play on a 5-string electronic violin, covers
Yeah,
the viola string. So if you ever
yeah.
need me or test on me, I'll be your musician.
Well, I'll write for anybody.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, but that's more or less my toy. I don't practice enough. But I can, if I need to practice, I can be pretty I was once somebody interviewed me, auditioned me after I play. They called me monster. So I was pretty good. I was a monster. Well, it's for
Well,
a national repertoire orchestra in
yeah.
Colorado. Yeah. So I was their principal violist for 1987 that year, and I
Are
performed
there?
Bartok viola concerto with the
Oh,
orchestra.
really? Wow.
Yeah.
Are there videos of you playing?
No, those days I have no video. 1987.
Oh,
No,
right. Okay, but I mean, but
no
more
video, no
recent?
audio.
No.
No, nothing. Yeah, but yeah, I don't have a whole lot of things myself play on the video because yeah, it's just I only started to be more serious about video for the last 15 years. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I don't play enough. So anything else you want to talk about before we do rapid fire? Do you have
No.
any current
Let's
project? Any current project right now?
Not very much. I published a lot of stuff the last few years, and so
Mm,
this is a very slow summer, but I am finishing up a movement for Hyperchromatica that I didn't finish for the CD.
mhm.
I decided I really liked the idea. I wanted to go home and go back and finish this. That's the only thing I'm doing at the moment.
Right. So uh, check out Kyle's YouTube channel, and you just type in his name, and you will see his YouTube channel with his music, and also he has a very nice website. So all this information is below at the description of this YouTube. Okay. So I play fun game with my guests. In the end. So let's do this rapid fire.
I'm gonna have some coffee.
Oh yeah, have some fun. And you guys, thank you so much for tuning
No, help me.
in. We really appreciate you guys. All right, so these are just the fun thing to talk about. Oh, favorite color,
Blue,
blue. Favorite type of food.
like favorite, like nationality or something.
Yeah, 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 like a genre of food. Yeah, national.
Um, um, Thai. No, Mexican.
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 Hmm.
Sorry.
Okay, so Thai is second. Spicy or not spicy?
As spicy as you can make it.
4 cities you want to live for 3 months of the year.
Four cities I want to live in: Copenhagen, um, Florence, um, London, and I've never been there, but Oslo.
Oslo, right? Copenhagen, Oslo. Are they in the same city? Yeah. You have to have a lot of money.
I know. I know.
It's expensive. Great.
I
Yeah. All
know.
right. So, what radio station do you turn on when you're driving on long distance?
Oh, we listen to. My wife's a radio nut. We either listen to the local NPR station or MSNBC.
Um, Social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube.
Just
Which,
Facebook. Just
which one?
Facebook. Just Facebook.
Facebook. Okay. Okay. Musical instrument you wish you knew how to play.
Harmonica.
That's cute. Very small. That doesn't require big storage. Great. So, let's see. What language you would like to speak? You don't know how to speak yet.
Italian.
Great. Chicken beef, pork?
I'm vegan these days.
Wow, bravissimo.
So
Wow.
seitan.
Wow. That's great.
Seitan
Yeah,
is my favorite meat.
C10. Wow. It's difficult to be vegan, huh? You have to both of you have to be vegan?
Oh
Or
yeah, we are.
yeah.
But it's gotten a lot easier in recent years. There's a lot more stuff you can make.
Oh, okay.
I tried it 12 years ago and couldn't keep it up,
Wow.
and now it's much easier.
Awesome. Did you feel the difference?
Well, my cholesterol went way down.
Okay. That's great. That's great. Wow. Thank you. Last question. Coffee or tea?
Oh, coffee, all the time.
Oh, I forgot. Another question. Oh, beer or wine?
Wine.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Oh,
Kyle.
thank you.
It's
That
so
that
much
was
fun.
fun. That was more fun than I thought. So.
Yeah, so wonderful to speak with you and to share your specialty and experience and your musical journey with us.
Well, thank you. It's been great.
Great. So
So
let's keep in touch.
okay. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. It's nice to get to know you, and
Yeah. Nice knowing you.
I'll try to find out more about your music too.
Okay, great. So everybody, thank you for tuning in. So we are ending here, and please do not forget to subscribe our YouTube channels. And thank you so much, and be safe, everybody. Bye now. Click end broadcast, and you can click on